back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek, and today we're focused on By Any Other Name. Very interesting episode. Lots to talk about here. How are you gentlemen doing today? Thanks for coming.
Doing well. Doing well. The beardless duo today. Beardless duo.
I just realized how strange my strange faces are now.
Yeah. As I said, now I've shaved it. It's growing back. I've only been clean shaven twice this year, and I don't like it. So it's got to go. It's got to come back.
Well, it suits you either way. So
Yeah.
But
I've spent the vast majority of my life clean shaven. But I've had a beard for nearly a year now, so I'm looking forward to getting it back.
Well,
and plus, it's
the caveman. That's my natural state.
Yeah, I'm not quite the dadmon without the beard at the moment. So.
Indeed. Oh, 1 second. You guys make it show for a second. Yeah, make it show for a second. That's my tea arriving.
I can get the big one as a Cuban American. I can get that big old Fidel beard going if I want to.
I'll get I can imagine you with the green baseball
the green hat, and I'm ready to go. Lead my people somewhere.
All right, I'm back.
But yeah, he's back. He's got his tea.
And in my fancy mug too. I like this mug. Wait, let me. Whoa, it's hot. Okay, it's the 55-year Star Trek mug, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So who wants to do the summary for today's episode?
I'm going to struggle with it because I've watched it twice, and both times I nearly fell asleep.
Oh, really? This is like a snoozer.
So yeah,
I wrote a super simple synopsis.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The Enterprise receives a distress call again from some stranded super beings again who want to use the Enterprise to get back to the galaxy again. But in the process, the 100 years trip will kill all the crew. That's it.
That's actually pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You didn't mention that love ends up winning the day.
It's actually being human wins the day, not love.
It's more like
yeah. The only thing that
I get to have Barbara Boucher as my partner for this new body. I say yes.
She is very attractive. I found myself, being attracted to her, and I don't get attracted to women often. So
she has very striking.
She must have been attractive then.
Yeah, it's true.
She was in the original version of Casino Royale. I was looking up some stuff about her. She was also in Gangs of New York.
Was that you say the original, the Woody Allen version that you're talking about?
The 60-something version that's almost like a parody of James Bond.
It's the one with David Niven plays Sir James Bond.
She's Money. Who she plays? She plays the secretary.
Moneypenny.
Moneypenny. Yeah.
Very cool.
And she's also in Gangs of New York, which I thought was crazy.
Hey, Jace. Wait, she's also in what?
Gangs of New York.
Like the new one, the
Scorsese? Yeah, like the Scorsese one. I was like, wow, that's quite a career.
That is interesting. Yeah, she's Sub-Commander Tall, who's not here today, was saying that she has an interesting story, but I didn't have a chance to look it up, so I'm glad you did. And then, of course, we have Warren Stevens, who was in The Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
So that
and Stagecoach.
Stagecoach. Oh, that's funny. We have a couple folks in the audience. Captain RGD wants to know, do you think Kirk prefers blondes? No, I think he prefers everyone.
Well,
if you actually prefers.
Is there an add-up? Has anyone done a tally of Kirk's conquest?
I'm actually going to defend Kirk now, because in TOS he's a serial monogamist. It's the Kelvin Kirk that shags everything.
I love that serial monogamist.
But if you actually look, virtually all the partners he has, bar, is it Mirimani?
It's usually just a kiss, right?
It's not. But if you look at it, Carol Marcus, You look at the one from Court Martial,
blonde,
who is his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He does prefer his blondes.
I guess he has a type.
He does have a type. Yeah.
Captain Kirk has a type. And then the other comment is we get to see Scott's quarters, and that's true. It's an iconic, memorable scene.
Yeah. It's one of the best scenes.
Like, yeah, pretty much ever. And I'll just go and say it. I loved when he's like, it's green, because like it made me think of like how, like, I had forgotten that was like what TNG was referencing in Relics, and it was like really fun to get that little, I guess you could call it a reference or an Easter egg from TNG, right? Like, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, it's a nod to the past, isn't it? It's a nod to the past. Yeah. That's what it is.
And the whiskey does the trick, the scotch. so he'd been saving it. I wonder what he was saying. What did he say he was saving it for? Did he say, or just a special occasion?
It was just a special occasion, I think. He was just keeping it. But the thing is, considering how clean starships are, how did it get so dusty?
I imagine that's like, you know how when you buy like old bottles of wine, they have like the dust on them. I guess he just never cleaned it. He never cleaned it off. But yeah, that's a good point.
He wanted to give it the bottle character.
He had it hidden so that the dot 7 robots, if Father was here, he'd have a fit. Which are now officially on the Enterprise. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, canon.
But he had it hidden so those dot 7
in robots, the armor. Yeah, in the armor.
Couldn't find it. Jason's
But the thing is, though, what made me laugh as well, he takes off the helmet to get it, but there's no back to the armor. He could have just put his hand around the side and got it.
That's true. That's a really good point. Jay says, I don't think Kirk minds at all. That's true. So this was interesting because like the Andromeda galaxy is our neighboring galaxy, and it was cool to get like, Star Trek doesn't really do this often, but it was cool to get like an actual story that has characters or like someone from there. Like it's very rare. We hardly ever go outside the galaxy. And then I think it's funny that, has the Great Barrier been retconned out? Like, does that exist anymore in later?
I don't. Well, yeah. I mean, thankfully they brought it back for Gary Mitchell in Lower Decks this week.
That's right.
No, in the first episode, not this week. In the first episode, Gary Mitchell. But yeah, I mean, I just thought that the Great Barrier, because all of a sudden everybody gets all these ESP. They go through it a second time, and nobody gets anything. It's just they just go through it. You're thinking, okay, they've forgotten about that.
Gary Mitchell sucked up all the strange energies.
All the Esper. Hey, Robbie.
Hi.
Hey, I love the lighting, Robbie. Very cool. You're
very
green.
It's almost like he's on the Nostromo.
Yeah, he's on the he's a Romulan now.
Is that green as a nod to Scotty's line in the drinking
scene?
It's
green.
No, I just thought I might make it a bit more dynamic this time. I didn't think about it too hard.
Well, you did a good job. So what did you all think of this episode overall? And Ian fell asleep like twice, so
I nearly fell asleep. There's twice because I watched it because now I've got broadband back. I watched it on Netflix and watched the remastered, but then I've still got the Blu-rays, so I'm watching the original special effects, and have to say there's virtually no difference, bar the ship and the planets. That's about it. The rest of it is exactly the same. There is no difference between the remastered. This episode
didn't really have anything fancy to catch up anyway.
No. But it also has the first female red shirt to die.
Oh,
Carla Gugino.
She was the.
Does the remaster? Did they add that like shrink like effect? Because if I don't remember, but like when I was a kid, I feel like they just popped into those shapes, right? Is that right?
A little bit. It's not noticeable so much that I thought. It just really didn't bit. And I also sort of found is how on earth, when they're put into these whatever I can't even think what the actual
D20s.
shape was. The shape
they turn into
these pieces of polystyrene or whatever they are.
I guess they're polygons. Yeah, but they remind me of role-playing dice.
Yeah. This episode confused me when I was a kid because I saw it around the same time as the 1966 Batman movie where they turn people into salt cubes. And I was like, wait a minute, is this like is Batman and Star Trek in the same universe? What's going on?
But it always got me. There's somebody sat on a seat and your legs are going over it. How do they get all that stuff off the floor into those little cubes? Because obviously when Chekhov gets done, his piece or whatever is sat on the chair. Yeah. And I'm thinking, how do you suck up
the sound effect? The sound pushes the stuff up, compacts it all.
Yeah, there was a couple of things I thought, how does that work? It is with that bit.
It is reversible, so it's kind of cool that they use it for travel. Like they use it as a means to like preserve energy or
hibernation. Hibernation type
like
thing.
Hibernation type of thing. Yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, what else? What did you guys think about the episode overall?
There's some good elements. I do like the conflict between Spock, Scotty, and McCoy with Kirk. Especially when they're saying about that they could destroy the Enterprise, and he did when they were going through the barrier, and he didn't, because obviously you have that conversation with obviously with Spock and Scotty in the lift into turbo lift, but you also it's near enough repeated when they're in the mess, where they're sat there just before somebody walks in, and obviously Kirk slams the chair and his coffee goes everywhere, and then he's okay drinking it afterwards. But yeah, I do quite like that. It's to see that conflict, that everything is, everybody says, oh, it's wonderful, but you still have that minor conflict between them. That Kirk is still justifying his decisions. I found interesting. I did find that really good, and obviously the conflict within the Kelvins. Because it's the first bit we get with the Kelvins, not the Kelvin timeline, but the Kelvins.
The Kelvins are some sort of tentacle creatures.
Multi-tentacled creatures.
The ones at the end of Picard season 1. That's all I kept thinking about. I was like, oh, gee, look, they can tie it in. that honestly made the episode more interesting to me, thinking about how they could tie that in.
Yeah.
I actually thought more about Galaxy Quest because they use a similar technology to kind of like turn, like they look human, but then they're like multi-tentacled.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, so funny. What did you think, Robbie?
I enjoyed it a lot more than last week. I thought it was one of the better episodes in a while, and at the start I thought I didn't have any idea how the episode was going to go, because usually when we watch these TOS episodes, I have a vague memory, but I didn't remember this one at all. And just the beginning of the planet was interesting. I thought, I don't think we get his name, but the leader, he kind of looked a bit like a Bond villain. Like he could have been in a 60s Bond film with his contraption and his...
Yeah, there was that quality, it's true.
You just kind of had a look to him. And I just thought it was quite an interesting episode, even though I wish they'd done something apart from the kind of distraction techniques, that kind of... It was interesting, but it did feel like it came to it kind of lost some steam towards the end a bit for me.
Did you find it like a weird shift to go from like a drama to a comedy, basically? Okay.
And I think it could have been just a more interesting... I like that at the end, it's a peaceful resolve, and they get on. That's refreshing.
Kissing that's how you get your ship back. You just like start kissing. It's great. And Scotty.
I just think it could have been a bit more interesting. Maybe Spock and Kirk and McCoy trying to take back the ship or something, instead of kind of Kirk, McCoy realizes we have to distract them. You get the very stereotypical kind of things they do. Scotty is trying to get, I don't think we get a name for him, the character drunk, and Kirk is trying to seduce this woman.
Spock is outsmarting his
with
guy,
chess,
and then Dr. McCoy is drugging. Just drugging his guy. So yeah, it's like there's a bit it's a little bit like, let's distill these characters to their strengths, and I feel bad that Scotty's is drinking, although that
the character's name was Tomar.
The
character was Tomar.
Well,
and obviously and Roshan was the leader.
I'm pretty sure that most of it under... Oh, what was it? There was a statistic that most of the people under... Was it 16 or 17 in Scotland drink alcohol more than... Oh, I don't even remember it, but it was...
Oh, so you're saying it is... Scots can hold their... Scots
liquor.
Drink a lot.
Well, not... Yeah, that's kind of stereotypical, but a lot of Scots do.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I think you probably find the Europeans, the French and everything, they give their children watered down wine, so, with their meals. So
I'm pretty sure that every single culture on the planet considers themselves the one that drinks the most.
The most.
Colombians drink a lot, Cubans drink a lot, Mexicans, everybody.
Yeah. Italians,
Italians,
whoever, the Scots, the whoever. But it's the English. The English are just notorious for making idiots of themselves if they're drunk. That's what they do.
I actually had a funny opposite reaction of Robbie. That I remembered this episode, like when the episode started, it all like the whole episode replayed in my head almost instantly.
Oh,
like if I was, like watching it as a kid, because I remembered Barbara Boucher being like one of those women that when I was like 4 or whatever watching this episode was like, wow, she's beautiful, and then I remembered that little kind of connection with the Batman 66 movie from when I was a kid, and then I remembered how the whole episode plays out, and I was like, I remember not liking this one that much, and for me it was just very much I was just not into it. It was more of like I was super disappointed, number one, because DC Fontana co-wrote the screenplay. So, and she's one of my favorites, but I just found it to be a super uninteresting episode. Like, phoned in from start to finish, no real message. I mean, love, sure, I guess, if you're on LSD, right? And that's and you got to write an episode, love, it all works out. Yeah.
She has very intense eyebrows.
She could easily play like a Romulan or a Vulcan character as well. I love the hairdo. I don't know if that's a wig. It probably is a
hair
wig.
looks great.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think some of these hairdos should come back into fashion, but
yeah, there's some of them should never come back into
men.
fashion.
For men, yeah. Instead, men should do that. Robbie,
I was actually honestly trying to figure out how to do something like that on something that she did with that blonde wig I have, but I was like, I don't think I could get it to look like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Robbie? Would you sport this hairdo?
My hair isn't that long.
No, I was just saying, would you sport a hairdo like that? No.
If I was a woman, or if I was a man with long hair?
Either. I would. I'm just gonna say it.
No.
If I
how long would that take though?
I love that you're actually
those
like,
are probably extensions.
taking it into consideration and thinking about it.
No, the only one I'd do is either the David Beckham or the Chris Hemsworth in The Huntsman. Just pull it back and have it in the ponytail at the back. I wouldn't go. Oh, that looks too convoluted for me.
I want to just grow my bangs and nothing else. Like shave everything and just grow the bangs as long as possible.
Captain RGD asks, where is sickbay located? I actually used to know. It's on Scotty's guide. It's in Scotty's guide.
Even McCoy doesn't know because he's so rarely there.
It's true. Wow,
Where did I leave my office again?
Anyways, Barbara Boucher's character's name is Kalinda. They have cool names. Rojan, Kalinda. What did you say the other guy's name was?
Tomar.
It's Hanar and Tomar.
Hanar. And then there was Drea too, right? She was on the one who replaced Chekhov, I guess.
Well, she sat in Helm, didn't she? She didn't replace there. She
that's right.
If Sulu was going to be in the episode, he would have been in that one. But again, it's another episode without George Takei.
I liked Hanar. I thought he was kind of a cool, snippy character, like especially when he starts getting
getting the shots.
But this isn't his first Trek adventure. He played what was the character's name? Darn, I'm trying to think. Let me just go to his IMDb page and I'll tell you. Here, hang on one second. But while we do that, what did you get? What was your? Oh,
he was the one that got who in Naked Now.
Right, that got killed, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who tried to stab himself, and it's on the end. It ends up on the end of the knife. Yeah, so I've just had a quick look on IMDb and seen his picture. So yeah,
Tourmaline
I remember that
was
one.
The name of the character, yeah. So
yeah, he was the one that was down on the planet with Spock.
Yeah, which is
and
cool.
takes his glove off for some reason. It's freezing cold, but he takes his glove off.
That's right. Like you just did. That's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, so we have a reoccurring. That's the last time he doesn't come back again. But I like that TOS does that, where they bring actors back. Captain RDG is saying, does Pike get to say "Space: The Final Frontier" in the opening sequence? I'm gonna guess yes, and a lot of people are really hoping for it and anticipating it. It just seems like it's appropriate. So
I have
I'm
an
gonna
inside
guess
rumor about that.
Oh, would you mind?
Due to my interviews.
Are you allowed to share? Or is this offline?
I heard they hired Gilbert Godfrey to say the intro.
That's such a lot.
Space! Final Frontier!
Or who was the guy that played the Grand Vegas?
Oh, Wallace Shawn.
Oh yeah.
Space, the Final Frontier.
It would be
Space, the Final Frontier. These are the voyages.
I can't do it right now. It's not coming to me.
Oh, these are the voyages.
All you guys are watching with a tear coming out of your eye. Like, what's happening right now?
It's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds and new civilizations.
Sorry. I love doing Grand Niggas.
He's such a funny character.
Oh, brilliant.
Wallace Shawn's a genius, though. He's really good in Princess Bride. I love his charter.
Yeah, he's brilliant in Princess Bride.
Physic? Is that his name? Physic or something like that.
Yeah. Demanded partaking. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It says it all when we're going on to the Princess Bride.
Well, I was gonna say I tend to agree with Ruben. This is not like a memorable episode in the sense that other than the gags, especially like the Scotty gag is really funny and memorable, and I think like a couple other gags here and there are interesting. And I always I remember being really, for some reason, being really frightened as a kid by the idea of being condensed into a D20. Yeah, but and it is kind of like Star Trek. It's interesting that what was the episode it's coming up, the Omega Glory has something similar where the virus that infects is it the Exeter? What is the ship that they encounter? I think that's like the next episode, if I'm not
mistaken. Omega Glory, isn't it? It's next episode. Yeah.
But those guys are turning into just their basic elements as well, which is interesting that Star Trek does these kind of things, as Ruben says, again. It's like a thing that happens again.
This is the first episode that I've watched now, rewatching it with you, that I was like, man, I'm really annoyed right now. It's like they just had a checklist And they were like, God, stranded. I'm like, God, not again, not this again.
I think this is one of the first of the episodes now where my attention's waning. That I'll watch it and then I'll get distracted by something else, and it'll still be playing, but I'll be distracted by something else, and I'll come back to it. And it's a shame because obviously, as I said, you've got Warren Stevens in there, and Warren Stevens is a great actor.
Right.
And
he does a good job. They all performance-wise, they all do a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, but the story's wanting for the actors they've got in there. You can see that they're starting to run out of ideas a little bit.
No, and money.
And money.
This episode was cheap.
Yeah.
This episode was like.
Yeah.
No, nothing extra spent. I mean, maybe the little salt effect thing, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. You Cubize all the crew, so you don't have to pay them. You've only got the main characters there. The four, which are the top four in the Enterprise, and you've just got the guest actors. So yeah, they really have stripped back for budgetary reasons.
Yeah.
But it's a shame though, because I mean the core of the story was there. It wasn't a bad idea. It was just they didn't really do anything with it, and then it turns into kind of comedy, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, because like the Kelvins are like interesting in the sense of like, what does he say, that they're conquerors, and they've pretty much conquered the whole galaxy, right? Like the entire Andromeda galaxy is like conquered, or something like that. But then they're gonna, what was it? The reason they came here was to get.
It was that radiation. I think was it radiation build-up that they wouldn't get there, so they have to leave and find somewhere new. And they were going to conquer instead of. It was going to be a conquest instead of asking for help.
But they were pretty poor. They were pretty bad conquerors. They were so easily kind of defeated. They were so easily like defeated.
Imagine once Barbara Boucher took off her top, the other guy is just gonna be like, conquered. Fuck that shit.
You win.
I guess you win. It just didn't feel like they were much of a threat. I feel like they can only turn so many people into those polygons, before someone figures out a way.
The only planet they couldn't conquer was like a pirate planet, because it was like debauchery and nudity and drinks and stuff, so they were just like overwhelmed by emotions.
It's lucky they didn't come in contact with the Orions, really, wouldn't it? They would have been really screwed.
Or Free Cloud, yeah, it's true. I guess Free Cloud's not around.
I want this planet, but at the same time, I don't.
Yeah, all the pheromones going about the place, they would have been truly buggered. Yeah.
Wrigley's Pleasure Planet is around though, because speaking of mentioning that was like a thing they mentioned in the Salt Vampire episode. So there's a planet called Wrigley's Pleasure Planet, which is funny.
I think there's a bit of miscommunication between the script and the D20s, because I'm pretty sure that McCoy says, refers to one of the D20s as a cube.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like they keep calling them cubes. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. They're polygons. I guess it's just easier.
It's probably D. Kelly couldn't pronounce whatever it is.
Tetrahedrons.
Tetrahedrons? That's what they actually are?
It depends on how many sides there are, I think.
Yeah, it can...
Dodecahedron or whatever it is. Yeah.
The platonic solids.
Of the scenes where they're trying to like confound these Kelvins, which was your favorite, guys?
Scotty.
Yeah.
Scotty was
Scotty. Yeah, it has to be Scotty. It's so overacted by James Doohan, which is it is the best part of the episode.
It does liven up the episode, yeah.
It does, and obviously, what's his face again? The one who plays Tomar. He plays it. He is the straight man to Scotty, because he's just sitting there saying, "Oh, finished." Another, and Scotty's there, so he's the perfect foil for James Doohan in this scene, and it is really good. I did like it, so it's the best one. And I think one of the few other bits is That's it. When they go, where it's right near the end, and Kirk gets thrown in, catches McCoy and Spock, and he says, "I'm stimulating him," and he gets thrown back in. That sort of one of those little lines, which was quite good. But yeah,
it's still weird.
I did think I agree with Scotty, but I also kind of was kind of touched a little bit by the Kirk and what's her character's name again? Kalinda scenes.
Kalinda,
yeah, and I like the whole I'd like to apologize again. That was kind of interesting.
What Kirk said. I think he says, he says, I'm kind of not going to say it properly. I can't remember the exact words, but he says something about I don't like beating my women because there's something better I can do. Obviously referring to
that's funny
intercourse.
Yeah.
That's funny. I missed that. Well, that's good.
No, he does. It's yeah.
Jeez, Captain
Kirk. That's his chat. I think that's his chat up line. His chat up line to Kalinda, because he said, "Where did I hit you?" And then he kisses her on the shoulder.
Oh, that's right.
Is that where I hit you? She said no. And he
imagine he walks up to some girl at the bar and he's like, "Hey, I don't like to beat my women. I like to do something else." Know what I'm saying?
No.
What?
No. Expelled.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I liked. I think my favourite scenes of the whole Scotty scene there was, the scene we got the gift from where he's kissing the bottle and he's
the whiskey glass. Yeah.
Yeah, the whiskey glass, and then when he's like, "Oh, I've got the the device," and he's like, "I can tell the captain," and then he's about to go out the hall, and he does this incredibly staged theatrical fall down on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, but as I said just before, he's right near the end when he's so drunk and he's like, "Kiss your glass." It's just the way he says it. It's just, I think that's with the whiskey.
I like the Kirk slap fight part too. That was kind of cute.
Yeah.
Smacking the guy.
Yeah. Rojan.
That was, it wasn't Kirk foo, it was more slap foo, wasn't it? Really. Yeah. There's a couple of things, but there's not many redeeming qualities to this episode. I don't think. As Robbie said, it lost its way. It had a good start, it had a good premise, but like so many we've seen in Star Trek in the 60s, it tends to forget it and move into a more different type of thing. Whereas if they'd carried on that premise, I think it would have been a good dramatic episode. Yeah, you could still have the comedic elements in there, the Scotty bit, getting him drunk, but they, instead of the Kirk kissing the girl and everything and getting him jealous and all that stuff, Rojan jealous, all that stuff. But as I said, I think both Ruben and Robbie have said it right. It had a great premise, and it just forgot about it about 10 minutes into the episode, and we went from there.
I guess the line, what does he say at the end? Was it you would extend welcome to invaders, and he's like, "No, but we would welcome friends." I think that's kind of cheesy and good. It's like it's very
60s. It's very 60s.
It's very 60s. The spirit of friendship is something that I think Star Trek does really well. It's like one of the themes. But yeah, again, not the best execution overall. There's a couple interesting facts here on Memory Alpha. Of course, the title of this episode is a reference to Romeo and Juliet when and he says the line in the episode, right? "A rose by any other name would still be a rose."
Yeah,
would still smell
great
as
poet,
sweet.
William Shakespeare.
Would still smell as sweet. Thank you. Yeah, that's correct. It says here the basis of this episode can be found in Gene Roddenberry's first ever produced science fiction script, The Secret Weapon of 117, which the episode featured a pair of aliens, the male portrayed by Ricardo Montalban, who disguise themselves as humans to study Earth people, but become overwhelmed by the sensations and experiences of their new host bodies and decide to remain human. I didn't realize that Gene had worked with Ricardo Montalban before.
No.
Which is
I mean, they knew
cool.
he'd worked with a lot of previous actors in The Lieutenant. He brought a lot of actors that he'd worked with in The Lieutenant into Star Trek, but I didn't know about Ricardo on that one.
And then the writer Jerome Bixby stated that he originally wrote the episode in a more serious vein, but that in depicting the potential end of the human race at the hands of the Kelvins, he failed to heed producer Gene Roddenberry's warning to avoid getting wrapped up in the immensity of it all. And so DC Fontana had to rewrite the script and make it more lightweight.
I think they could have stuck with the drama. I don't think they needed to go so lightweight. I think the drama would have kept, and I think it would have been a better episode. You could say in retrospect or whatever. I don't think they needed to make it so comedic. You could have kept the comedic elements in, but kept with the drama, and I think it would have been a better episode if they'd stuck with the drama.
Do you think that?
Go ahead.
I think this episode just got. Sorry, go ahead, Robbie.
Do you think that's? I suppose that goes in line with Gene's kind of style to have it very optimistic, and maybe that sometimes hampers some of his stories when they can't get into, more immense and well, it isn't dark, but less goofy stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Gene gets in the way sometimes of a good story.
It's hard for me. I can usually see, since I always look at things through the writing lens and the script lens, like I can usually see what they're going for with an episode, whether it succeeds at it or not. But this one's like something went wrong. Like it makes a lot of sense that DC Fontana rewrote a script that was. I mean, if you're telling me it was more about the end of humanity at the hands of the Kelvins, that's like a day and night difference from what we got.
Mm.
The article says Bixby's original script was much darker than the filmed episode. The Kelvins, then called the Devenians, executed 10 Enterprise crew members by opening the shuttle bay door and letting them get sucked out into space.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, Kirk was put through hellish torture. Also, crew members were chosen to mate with each other. Kirk was paired with Yeoman Leslie Thompson.
But see, some of that makes a lot more sense to me. Like, there should have been more of the Kelvins just fucking with the crew. Like, you know what I mean? On the way to... Like, I don't know. It was just very weird to me. Like, they were godlike, but they weren't. But they were. But they kind of weren't. But it's just very weird.
That would also make more sense for the ending. One of the ending arguments was saying, well, what are you going to do when you get there? You're going to be more human than you are Kelvin.
Right.
That would tie in a lot more with that part of the script, and that makes more sense. Hearing what should have been as to what was actually on the screen.
Right, and the idea of like what makes you, you, like you're going to be something completely different by the time you return.
Yeah.
So what are you? You know what I mean? Like that's something. Yeah. I think budget and conflicting, Gene's kind of weird ideas sometimes for how stories should be told, for better or worse. Everybody has them.
By the way, they're dodecahedrons. Is the actual shape? So yeah, that's good. You got it right. And apparently, it says here the writers could not figure out how the Kelvins could eliminate the crew. So while they were in Roddenberry's office, someone spotted a Mexican onyx dodecahedron on his desk and suggested that they be transformed into objects of that shape. Dorothy Fontana describes the scene related by Gerald on the special features of the season 2 DVD. She indicates that she had given the dodecahedron to Roddenberry and that he played with it while they described their problem, and then Roddenberry made the suggestion that they be transformed into objects of that shape. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think that's that. I mean, that's where it works. You don't have to kill them. You just put them into these shapes and the dodecahedrons, which is great. It's there, but I still think that I would like to like to sort of read the original script, because to me it sounds like it's a far better script than what we got.
I wonder if you can find those somewhere. That'd be interesting to.
It would be, yeah.
To see. There's got to be like a resource. I know you can find all the scripts. There is a website. Maybe it's TrekCore who keeps that up, or someone, I forget, but someone keeps all the scripts online where you can reference them, which is pretty cool as well.
You know, the very first shot, the CGI scene with the sky, and it's all pink. I believe you have a star to the left. It reminded me very much of the sky scene in The Cage. It looked almost exactly like that, if I remember correctly. I don't know if that was just a reused asset in the remastering. Just that very bright that pink scene, sky.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason for me to go back and watch now. Spock actually, during the Great Barrier scene, I read here that he does his line is exactly the same as in Where No Man Has Gone Before. Like, he says the exact same readings and the same everything, word for word.
Okay.
Hey Braxton, what's up? Good afternoon. Braxton, thanks for coming in. I should have sent you an invite. I apologize. Next week. I apologize. Starfleet Boys so disorganized sometimes. Kirk mentions that an intergalactic voyage by a 23rd century ship would take thousands of years to reach the Andromeda galaxy. For the Kelvins, intergalactic travel is a 3-century journey in the 24th century, as seen in TNG, Where No Man Has Gone Before. Oh, Federation technology has apparently matched that of the Kelvins when it is discussed that the return trip from the Milky Way to the Milky Way from the Triangulum galaxy would take 300 years at maximum warp. So that's crazy. Okay. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
You know what I find funny?
What's that?
Kirk calls Scotty mad when he says about the, preparing to destruct the Enterprise. And then in Star Trek 3, it's Kirk that, sets off the auto-destruct.
I think the difference is there. You've got a full crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only bit. Whereas in the Search for Spock, there's only a handful of them. Whereas obviously in this one, it is over 400 people, isn't it? Over 400 people. I think that's probably where that's the difference. That's the change on that one.
It's a shame that they couldn't really make any tension out of that, apart from that brief turbo lift scene. You'd think a decision like that would be a big deal, even if it was just a suggestion, but they don't really do much with it.
Well, they have to work quickly, I think, because they're like so. But I thought there was enough tension on the bridge, that scene in the bridge, like where they're kind of
where he's James Doohan is brilliant at holding that finger over the button, ready to push it.
The actors were all very good at staying still. I was watching them all in case they made any to see their hearts pumping and just see if they blinked and messed anything up.
You do see Shatner's eyes moving a lot in it.
I think you see Uhura blinking as well.
That's interesting. Well, that's cool. I guess we can pretty much wrap this episode up with our final thoughts and ratings. It's a bummer that not much to talk about this week. It's an uninspiring
because at least
episode.
usually in a bad episode, there's either something funny like ridiculous, like cat's paw. There's a giant cat in the door, or there's like at least one good speech or something by a character.
Yeah.
And this one's like, there's that green scene with Scotty.
Yeah, I mean that's like that's about it.
Yeah. I think the only other bit is Spock going into his trance, and that's about it. And then he just stands there and he goes to fall over.
It's better than meditation. Like, I'm Jesus, Vulcans, I swear to God, I'm suffering with people. I'm so glad red matter destroyed your planet.
Oh no!
Oh, I liked
long live the Kelvin timeline.
I liked McCoy's quip about I don't know the character's name, but he was basically the character was enjoying the replicated food, and he was like he was munching on it, and I can't remember what he said, but then McCoy said something like, if he keeps going down that route, he'll need a diet or something.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell were these people doing before the Enterprise showed up?
They were just hanging out on
Popping
that garden
pills.
planet.
Popping pills.
Like,
Yeah, it was like really weird. It's
not
true.
kissing, not touching, not like.
They were just like
Not
hanging out.
eating anything, not drinking anything. I don't know. They're just all like, what should we do now, Tomar? Same thing as yesterday. Very well.
Yeah. I'm hungry. Here's a pill.
We don't even get a motive for them, which, would have at least fleshed them out.
They're just conquerors. Yeah, like that's pretty much it. It's like, yeah.
It's like obviously when is it Haynar? Yeah, Haynar. After the few shots, he could at least started to pick in a fight instead of storming off in a strop when he gets told to go back to his room, like he's like a bad teenager. Go to your room, sort of thing,
yeah.
and he just storms off. You can at least go, "Oh, I hate you." But yeah, it's like you said, they just give up too easy. Yeah. It just seems to, for a conquering race, they give up really, really easily.
So yeah, run of the mill episode.
We are your conquerors. No, you're not. Okay,
you have this drink. Oh, never mind. It's green. I love this green.
It was way too easy to subdue them. Yeah, it's true. I'm gonna give this episode probably a 5.5, just to give it over a 5. So that's gonna be my rating for this episode. What about you, Robbie?
I think I'll give it a 6 drunk Sohails on Starfleet Boy After Dark.
Oh, jeez. That was me, level 6 last night.
Last night was epic. It was like Michael Bay directed the episode.
It's true. Ian, what are you giving to this episode?
A 5.
Oh, wow.
A 5. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about 4.5 because I said I nearly fell asleep twice, but I'll give it a 5. There are a couple of redeeming qualities. There's the Scotty bit. There's a few little gems in there, but apart from that, it's not even a good filler episode. It's unfortunately there's worse to come. There is worse to come, but
that's what I've been told. That I don't remember quite, but yeah, I can tell we're kind of past like the prime. I guess
we are past the prime now, and we're sort of on. We're on the second stage, but yeah, it's. I am. Yeah, I can't give it more than 5. I really can't.
What about Tentacle Martian? What do you say?
Man, I got a new rating system I've come up with as I've been watching Star Trek, where there's anything better than Cat's Paw, and anything at Cat's Paw or below, and I'm giving this one a Cat's Paw because at least Cat's Paw was funny to me.
Yeah,
this was just like I remember checking the time of the episode when there was still like 12 minutes left. And I was like, how much time is left in this freaking episode? Like, just get to the point already. And I was like, 12 minutes? I'm like, just now 12 minutes?
Yep. Well, you can't win them all, TOS.
Yeah,
sorry.
not.
Like,
they had to make a lot of episodes in a short amount of time. So,
I think this is one of the lowest ratings we've given collectively on a Star Trek episode, other than Cat's Paw, maybe. But yeah, so it's like very cool, very cool. Well, I had so much fun talking about the episode with you guys.
I'm actually quite surprised. I've just had a look. IMDb, there's 2,700 votes, and they've given it 7.6 out of 10.
Wow.
Well, no, I saw here on the Wikipedia for the episode, it says, in 2018, Collider ranked this episode the 9th best original series episode.
What?
I'm
really?
Like, what? Did you only watch like 10 episodes? I'm like, there's no way, man. There's no way.
That's
I'm
surprising.
sorry. I'm not saying it's a nightmare episode, but like, it's...
Yeah.
Did they skip season 1?
Yeah.
That's really surprising to me. That's crazy.
Actually, it is surprising because it is subjective, because I'm just looking at next week's, which I think is a far better episode. They've given it 6.2. So it's going to be interesting to see what we say next week. availed it. But I think next week's is a better episode, definitely.
I wouldn't say this episode was bad. I'd just say it was a bit uninspired, mediocre,
Right.
and the last act kind of it didn't hold up to the beginning, really.
Yeah, so the first 10 minutes were up there, and you've really got the drama. Then it just sort of slowly but surely.
Well, the stakes were so high, like with the whole crushing the dodecahedron, and like just like the way they took the ship was clever. It's what they did afterwards that was just like
they should have challenged the Kelvins to a game of Dungeons and Dragons and used the crew as the dice.
As the dice.
Somebody with a marker pen. Give me a marker pen. Right on the marker pen, once or whatever. Yeah. There you go.
What have you guys got to promote this week? Let's start with you, Ruben.
This week Monday probably I'll be posting my Robert Meyer Burnett interview, and I'll also be working on some other interviews that I did with a cinematographer for a horror film called Superhost, which is pretty good. It's available on Shudder now, and I'm interviewing some other people. I interviewed a couple of YouTubers, so Brewmorg.com, popaxiom.com, Ruben-Wrights.com.
I wish you had a YouTube channel and you did your interviews like this. It would be cool, but I know it's a lot of work.
You said that on Starfleet Boy, and then I think Marcel said the whole point is, he writes.
That's true.
You're a good writer.
You are a good writer. He's been writing it for as long as I've known him, and I've known him since I was in second or third grade. So yeah.
Since we were in the Andromeda galaxy,
concrete
places with no alcohol, with no sex, like the worst places in the world. Like, why do you keep conquering these piece of shit places? There's nothing to do.
But you had a fair few tentacles.
Yeah, when we were in our true form with it. Ian, you've been doing some cool stuff on Twitter with stop motion. What have you got going on?
With time lapse, I've come away from stop motion. I've because of how time consuming stop motion is, I've started experimenting with time lapse. So I've got a couple of small videos. The first one only lasted 4 seconds, and then they got longer and longer as I worked out how to do it. And so I've on Twitter this week, you'll see that I've done a couple of quick build videos of the Enterprise E, the Enterprise B, and the Cerritos. And obviously, as we got there, we have the Cerritos here. So I've been doing that.
It's the theme song in my head.
It's actually, that was one of the few that didn't make the move when I moved house, so it was quite obliterated. So I completely took it apart and did the video. So I'm doing more and more experiments to look at reinventing my channel a bit more and doing the videos on my channel. So, as I said, because of whatever, I lost the love of building, and now because of the other week where after the show, there's me, Ruben, and Tilly. We're sat there talking, and there's me building my Lego as everybody's talking. Because I did rebuild the, if I can see it, the Shenzhou, which is here. Oh, one sec.
Shenzhou.
By the way, Tilly says hi. She's gonna... Oh wow, look at that. Nice. I've seen that one before, but it always impresses me. It's very cool. Oh wait, hold on. Here we go. Oh, and you're on mute. You're on mute. I think I can unmute. Let me try. Hold on.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. As I said, after the show 2 weeks ago, there was me, Ruben, and Tilly. We were chatting away, and I picked this up and just rebuilt it. And that's where it really came back that I thought in my head I could start redoing it. So fingers crossed, in the near future, there will be some new builds coming up. I've got a lot of mini builds to do.
Very cool.
I've got the brand. I've got a few others, which I've got pieces for. There's a good thing for any Lego people out there that there is Blue Bricks are coming out. It's a German company, and they've now got license to build some Star Trek kits. and they're bringing out 17 new kits.
Oh wow!
And the two big ones are the Constitution class Enterprise, the Enterprise
Galaxy class,
oh, and wow. They're also doing a lot of medium build ones again with the Enterprise D. You'll be able to do a phaser, a communicator, the Borg cube. They're coming out, so I'm hoping. Looks like I'm going to be without money for quite some time getting these kits and see if I can do some reviews on them. So yeah, they are looking it'd be interesting to see what their Constitution class is, because whether it is
DS9. I just saw their DS9 program.
Yeah, they've got Deep Space Nine. So yeah, they've got Deep Space Nine. They've got Voyager as well, if I remember rightly. As I said, there's 17 kits that they're doing, varying from about 200 pieces all the way up to 2,500 pieces. So I'm looking forward to actually getting the Constitution and seeing how it compares with the Mega Blocks, because obviously if you have a quick look there, I've got the Mega Blocks there, which is they equate to about the same amount of pieces.
That's cool.
So it will be very interesting to do that one. I've also got, hopefully coming soon, the refit. I've managed to get a kit from AliExpress, which is a Chinese company, and they've got hold of a design for the refit Enterprise, which is about 2,500 pieces. And I will build that and review that, which will be on my channel, but that's going to take a little bit of time. But that's things I'm hoping to do with the future. I've started to get my love of the brick back, and I'm looking forward to doing some builds, filming it a different way, and showing it to the people out there, and promoting some of these great other mock designers that are out there for Star Trek Lego.
Very, very nice. What have you got going on, Mr. Robbie?
Mr. Robbie. So we're doing a Doctor Who animation discussion.
Just after this, soon.
Yeah. I had no idea about it, but of course Brian knew, because he is the encyclopedia of Doctor Who, and so we're just doing this series-free animation discussion, and then
it's called
tomorrow,
The Infinite Quest, the episode.
The Infinite Quest, and then tomorrow we'll be watching The Amazing Spider-Man, and we'll have a Lower Decks discussion about Mugato.
Great episode.
Amazing Spider-Man as in the first Garfield one?
Yes. Yeah,
one of the worst ones.
Yeah, it's true. We're working our way through all the Spider-Mans and working our way to the glory that is Tom Holland, which is coming out soon.
The glory that is Into the Spider-Verse.
I know it's not Star Trek.
Yeah, actually, that's the best one, I think. Yeah.
Is it true they're bringing back Garfield and for the next and Tobey Maguire for the next Spider-Man?
That's the rumor. It's still not confirmed, but it's pretty much a given that's going to happen. The spoilers, we're just quickly going to do since we're promoting Robbie's stream, real quick spoilers. So if no one wants to hear this part, we understand. But it's fathery, especially if you're watching this. Don't listen to this part. But the trailer shows Doc Ock. Alfred Molina. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Alfred Molina.
Alfred.
Alfred Molina. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you hear Green Goblin's laughter, and you see a pumpkin bomb. What do they call? They call it pumpkin bombs, right?
Paycheck for 10 minutes of screen time.
Genius. But so that, and then it's rumored that Electro is going to be back too. So it's a very good indicator that we're going to get maybe the Spider-Men, the previous Spider-Men as well. So here's
you can see the electric shot in the trailer, and you can also see
Jamie Foxx.
Sorry, no, you can't see Jamie Foxx because they're not going to show.
Oh, but they do show. They show lightning that could be from Electro and Sandman.
And Sand.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, there's so many like little tidbits.
And
yeah, it's gonna be
Spider-Man
pretty crazy.
clusterfuck.
They show a black suit. That's very possible because you have to
clusterfuck.
You have to give all sorts of. You have to give these characters ample time. You can't just stuff them all in and then not give them enough to do or put too many things in. That's my only real concern with that. But it looks like there's the black Spider-Man suit in that sand scene as well. And then Andrew Garfield has been asked about it, and it's very much seems like he's hiding hiding that he's in the film.
Yeah. But we'll find out, and we'll be talking more about it this Sunday on Earl Grey Trekkie's channel. So check it out, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of little conversations about that. Yeah. All right, and then
from that to that.
So thanks for coming, guys. You can check out Starfleet Boy on Thursdays. We have discussions about the latest Star Trek that is out, which right now we're focused on Star Trek Lower Decks. So very interesting episode, Gamado, Magado Gamado. And then you can check out Father, who's usually here in our discussions, does a more detailed and kind of like walkthrough of each episode on Friday nights at usually around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I missed the discussion last night, so I'm excited to go back and watch that. And then you can check out Starfleet Boy After Dark, where we kind of sometimes are really focused, and sometimes it's, as Ruben just said, a cluster F, like directed by Michael Bay or whatever. So go check that out. I thought last night was really fun, and I certainly have vague memories of the end, so that means I was probably, what was it, level 6 Starfleet Boy drunk. I was as drunk as Scotty perhaps was in this episode of Star Trek. But yeah, we have a lot of fun on those, so go check those out. And then of course there's these TOS discussions, which we have every week, and the next episode is the Omega Glory. So tune in next week for the Omega Glory, and that's going to be an interesting one to talk about as well. So yeah, live long and prosper. And
Oh, he's gone.
I did that last time.
Well, for us, we'll say thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
I hit the wrong button.
I did that too, remember?
Yeah, I know. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.